to my channel, y'all. Before we get started, the first thing we have to do is pray. I'm gonna insert my prayer here, and it's gonna explain who I am, why I'm here, and what we will be discussing. That we rebuked any bad energy, any negative energy, anyone who is not feeling well, anyone who has the spirit of doubt. We rebuking all of that energy, okay? And we getting into our video. Let's get started. I'm in Isaiah, and Isaiah is a little special to me because my brother middle name is Isaiah. He passed away when I was 16, and his middle name is Isaiah. So it's special to me. And the book of Isaiah teachings is about ignorance. So today we're learning about ignorance. Okay? It's a big topic. It's an important topic. It's something that we have to talk about. The discussion is well overdue. Okay? So I get into Isaiah, right? And I started reading the first chapter, and I'm reading. I go, oh my God, he's talking about ignorance. So, you know, in the Bible, each book is going to teach you a lesson. And the lesson you should be able to decipher through to understand it. So if you need to learn about ignorance, if you need to learn it for yourself or people around you, read the book of Isaiah, okay? And understand it. But we're going to read a little bit today. So I have my Bible, you know that, and I have my notepad, you know that. Let's open our books. Let's open our Bibles and we go into Isaiah. Or grab your phone, do whatever you need to do. We're going to Isaiah today. Hear, O heavens, and give ear, O earth, for the Lord has spoken. I have nourished and brought up children, and they have rebelled against me. The ox knows its owner, and the donkey its master's crib. But Israel do not know, my people do not consider. All right? So that passage right there, I read it and I said, oh, so it's calling out people like animals know who their owners are. So why don't humans and mankind know who we belong to, right? We belong to God, and Jesus Christ is our brother, and that's our family, and that's who we belong to in spirit. So now we're going to go to chapter 6. It says, from the sole of the foot even to the head, there is no soundness in it, but wounds and bruises and putrefying sores. They have not been closed or bound up or soothed with ointment. Your country, chapter 7, it says, your country is desolate. Your cities are burned with fire. Strangers devour your lands in your presence, and it is desolate, as overthrown by strangers. So I want you to go to Isaiah and continue to read, but we're going to cover this topic real fast. So as I was reading that, I was like, oh, he's calling out ignorant people. He's talking about ignorance, right? Right away, he's talking about ignorance. Some of the words that was used in what I read, I'm like, okay, so let's go over ignorance, right? And before we go over the word ignorance, my mentor, right, said something extremely important. Said the world needs people that come alive. And I said, ooh, I love that. And my mentor told me that I need to become alive, like stop hiding and be all that I can be. And that was amazing. That was a great word for me to hear. And I'm taking that and I'm running with it. So ignorance is a lack of knowledge or awareness, right? And when we break down knowledge, knowledge is understanding facts or information. Awareness, knowledge and perception of a situation or fact. So to be that, the action word of knowledge is speaking rudely or offensive, right? Also, the adverb is ignoring the facts that you don't know, refuse to take notice, fail to consider, and reject law and rule. So Isaiah spoke that we are rejecting law, and we all know by now, we should know law is the Bible, the basic instructions for life on earth, right? So that's the book of instruction, the Bible, and we are rejecting the Bible. We as society are rejecting the Bible, and it's created multitudes of ignorance, right? And to disregard, overlook, neglect, and forget. And woo, this is how arguments start. This is how rage start, right? Because we live in a spiritual realm, and you have two ways you can go. You can go the way of God, or you can go the way of the beast. And you can ignore the beast if you want, but that beast is what brings arguments. That beast is in control of ignorance. He loved ignorant people. He loved ignorant people, and we all have been ignorant. I know I have been ignorant in situations, because even if I had understanding, I had the facts, if I spoke rudely or offensive to a person, that's me being ignorant, right? If I refuse to take notice of the person's actions, that's ignorance, right? If I fail to consider the other person, that was ignorant. And if I rejected the law of ignorance, which is understanding and facts, then that was ignorance. So sometimes you could be extremely knowledgeable and you are extremely aware of the conversation. However, you're failing to consider the other person. You're being rude, you're being offensive, and you're carrying yourself in ways that make you ignorant. So there's been situations where I had to look at myself and say, always try to identify my doings in every situation, right? Taking responsibility of you and your actions. Because again, I told you this multiple times, people are going to be who they are, but you have to pay attention to who you are ultimately. So, recently I had a situation, and I learned that although I had the understanding and I had the facts, I was still ignorant because I wasn't considering the other person. And a lot of times, just because a person don't know how to communicate and they may not have the understanding or facts, you should always be able to consider their version of their truth, if again it's coming from a safe place and a place of purity. And I realized that this is what we're lacking in life. We are not acknowledging that we are ignorant. We're not acknowledging it. We're not accepting that we're ignorant. And this is what's holding multitudes of people away from reading the Bible, because of pure ignorance. And this is why I started going the route of what the Bible said. Because growing up, we always had a elder telling us what the Bible said, and you know what? I do it today. I said, well, in Isaiah, but I'm more specific. I'm like Isaiah chapter 1, rather than saying, well, the Bible said. So the Bible is teaching us in Isaiah about ignorance. It's teaching us about pure ignorance and why we are in destruction today is because of ignorance. And I was like, ooh, every time I get into a new chapter, I'm getting read. But you know what? It's making me a better person. If you always hear good things about yourself, how are you going to ever change? How are you going to ever become a better person? I feel like when we hear things about us that's not so pleasant is when people who want to become better make a conscious decision to dissect the situation and really try to understand it on a different term and wonder why is it happening to them, but what could have made the situation better by their actions. So every time I'm in, I'm gonna call them situations, every time the beast send his children to attack me, right? Because the same way God has his angels, the beast has his children. So in the same way the angels are here to protect God's children, the beast's children are there to destruct. Okay? So every time the beast send his children to attack, right? I always say, before anything, I pray. Once I hear something coming to me, ready to attack me, I said, all right, let me pray, because I know where this is coming from. I know this is not them. And they don't even realize that they got the beast children in them, nagging on them to attack me. They don't know. They don't understand it. But I understand it, right? Because I walk with God. So I always pray first. I say, God, please help me, because this situation is about to get ugly. Because ultimately, we're all flesh. So even though you know better, you don't always do better when you're caught off guard. And this is why I got to a situation where I'm like, I don't want to be in situations or around people where I'm getting caught off guard because they dipping and dabbing in with the beast and his children. I don't want to be in situations like that ever again in my life. And I'm going to make a conscious decision to never be in situations like that, because this is why your parents or your family members or elders in the neighborhood or friends or whoever cared about you would tell you, be careful who you're around, because you know the beast is playing through people and they are ready to attack. And if a fool is going to be ignorant to you, because we are in flesh, we're going to be ignorant to the fool, and we're blocking our blessings. We're blocking our blessings fighting fools. So 2 fools fighting, you don't know who the bigger fool. You all look the same. So try not to block your blessings. It's not worth it. Be careful who you're around. Be careful who you're inviting in your personal space, and dissect every situation that you put in and realize that those people are sent to attack you physically, in the spiritual realm, mentally in the spiritual realm, emotionally in the spiritual realm. So be very afraid of these people who attack you for no apparent reason, who's coming in disguise, because they ultimately don't even realize that they're being attacked, and there's something nagging at them, telling them that, convincing them that you are the bad guy. So ignorance is what causes arguments. Ignorance is what causes pride. Ignorance is what causes a lot of abuse, mental abuse in life. So don't be ignorant, okay? Learn, understand the true meaning of ignorance, and do your best to not get put in a situation where you are not considering other people, because it is ignorant, okay? Also, the last thing that I want to say is, because when people hear spirit, they tend to think of religion, and you being spiritual don't necessarily mean you follow a religion, right? The Bible, there's a book in the Bible, and we'll get to that later on. I'm not going to fast forward. There's a book in the Bible that will tell you, and there's words and chapters and statements in here that will tell you spirituality. So whatever spirituality that you are in that is serving God, whatever you call it, right? I call it God. Whatever you decide to call it, pray in every situation, because prayer diffuses. It's like candles. You light it up and it's refreshing. So when you are put in situations, again, I'm always using the word vulnerable, because this is when you're attacked the most, is when you're vulnerable, right? When you're relaxed, when you're calm, when you're vibrating high, and you're around people who are vibrating low, you're put in a vulnerable position, because you are going through life unbothered and not bothering people, and then you around energies that is bothered, very bothered, and they will attack you in your vulnerable moments of just being kind and pure. And I say that to say ignorance is not just about how you treat a person, but ignorance is just also how you act and how you carry yourself, and what you do in situations that provoke you. And Isaiah is really teaching us to not be ignorant to the law of God, not be ignorant to the teachings of God, not to be ignorant to spirituality, not to be ignorant to life on earth, right? You have to be spiritual. I keep saying this, you have to, because we live. If you take a deep breath right now, take a deep breath, go. and then exhale it. You feel your whole entire body just relax. That's your spirit in its purest form. Your whole entire body relaxes. So know that there is spirit inside of you. And what really, really made me believe in the spirit, what really, really just poked at me is when I had to see my mother take her last breath. There was nothing inside of her. There was a shell, but there was nothing inside of that shell. And I said, oh my God, if you have never witnessed death, I understand not accepting spirituality, but witnessing death from someone that you love so much with all your heart makes you understand how important it is to shine bright in this earth, how important it is to live the way God wants us to live, because his path is the greatest path and his say is the only say. Okay? So walk in the right path, walk without ignorance, and walk with prayer. That armor of prayer, man, it rebukes. You hear me? It rebukes. Anytime I play in vulnerable situations and I see myself just acting out of vulnerability, I pray, and immediately I'm like so calm and relaxed. And I'm like, thank you, God. And I'm inviting God into every situation. So again, go to Isaiah, read Isaiah, learn more about ignorance, and see what, again, we on a path to finding our fuel, seeing what fuels us in a good way, and becoming the best versions of ourselves in a safe and happy place. So you guys, thank you for coming and watching my video today. If you like this video, if you love this video, if this video was any sort of help to you, smash that like button, smash it, because if you don't like the video, others cannot see the video and it just disrupts the whole algorithm of YouTube, okay? So let's share the love, like this video, and if you're not subscribed, subscribe. What you waiting for? Your girl is posting videos constantly, consistently, and I love it. And I want you guys to keep walking that path that you need to walk to find your fuel, okay? So thank you for coming today, and whatever you do, make sure you do it with